Hey guys, Utah Steve here, back for another video. Finally, a new one. Today is just a day hike, but a much needed one. It is a Monday morning. It is 44 degrees, a little bit breezy. I'm hiking the trails near my house. I don't have any particular agenda in mind, any destination. I'm just gonna hike and explore and be out in nature. My original plan was to camp at Antelope Island once again, Bridger Bay campground. I reserved a site and had all my gear packed. I came home from work Saturday morning and I thought, well, I'm all packed and ready to go. I'll just take a nap till noon. Check-in for the campsite isn't until 3 p.m. I just thought, I'll take a nap, I'll feel refreshed, I'll get up and load the car camping, so no backpack, just a tub full of stuff. And then I'll run to the store and get the few things I need, and I'll be on my way. That was the fantasy. And what really happened is I fell asleep until almost 3 p.m. and I was just exhausted. I average 5 hours a day of sleep Monday through Friday, single parenting and all that, so it kind of caught up with me and I just kind of conked out big time. When I realized what time it was, I kind of panicked. Didn't seem like I'd slept that long, and I didn't have my kids, so they weren't gonna wake me up. Just a quiet, dark house, and that just made me want to sleep all that much more. Then I got up and started looking around my house. Of course, I had my kids all week. It was school and everything. I usually have my kids right up until their bedtime, and then I take them to their mom's house and go to work and pick them up again in the morning, take them to school. So needless to say, from the entire week preceding, my house wasn't very clean. It was a disaster zone. And then I looked in my cupboards and at my fridge and realized it had been a long time since I'd done any grocery shopping of any significance, and I was getting pretty low on food. In the meantime, some personal issues came up related to my kids, and by the time I got that settled and dealt with that, it was 4 or 5 p.m. and I decided it's not happening. Sometimes you have to know when to say when, and I'm out $38 for the reservation for the campsite, donated to the Antelope Island Fund. So I ended up going to the grocery store and cleaning my house, and then I thought, well, you know what, it's not a total loss. Saturday was kind of stormy. Sunday's supposed to be nice. I'll go for a hike just right here in the foothills of Ogden. Beautiful, beautiful. My current hometown right down there. Sunday came and I couldn't stop sleeping. I slept all night Saturday night. I got up Sunday, I did a few things, and then I got this wave of sleepiness about 1:30 in the afternoon that I couldn't shake. I laid back down and I passed out till 5 p.m. It just kept happening, you know. Sometimes lack of sleep can really catch up to you. Finally, it's Monday morning. I've taken my kids to school and I have some time alone and I'm wide awake. So what I think I will do today is follow the Indian Trail, but instead of going up into the canyon there where the Indian Trail heads, we're going to cut off at Hidden Valley Trail. work our way back that way. I've never actually made it to the Hidden Valley itself, but apparently there's a couple of cool campsites up there. Time is not on my side. I have to pick my kids up at 3. It's about 9 a.m. right now. It's supposed to warm up to the mid-60s today. The sun is just barely coming over that mountain. So we're hiking into the shadow of the mountain, but it shouldn't last too long. And we're just gonna explore the area, be out in nature, and have some conversation, I guess. In my pack, I've just got some very basic supplies. Talk about that later. Right now, let's just enjoy the scenery. I have to say that 44 degrees that my car said it was the parking lot temperature down there in the sun. It's probably 10 degrees colder up here, which is fine. I'm not too cold, but filming, you can see my hands are turning red. I didn't think to bring any kind of gloves, knit gloves or anything. So I keep having to alternate hands that I'm filming with, like right now, and trying to keep from getting too cold. And we're kind of catching up to the mountain, and the sun's gone back behind it. Hopefully it comes out soon. That'll help significantly. And this canyon is really breezy. That doesn't help either. So if we continue that way, more Indian Trail. What you're looking at now is Ogden City down below. It's not a huge city. I live down in the neighborhood to the left at the bottom of the screen. And the reason we're turning off here, this is where a lot of people miss the Hidden Valley Trail. There is no signage. You're just hiking up this way, and suddenly there's this, which is probably why it's a hidden valley. And it's actually quite a ways up that trail, and it is very steep. Not all the way through, but there are places where it is. Anyway, we're gonna hike up that. We're gonna hike until it's now 9:35 a.m. Not p.m. obviously. We're gonna hike until 11 a.m. wherever that takes us, and then hang out for an hour wherever we end up, and then we'll hike back to the car, just so that I'm on time for the kids. Up we go. Up a little higher now, working our way up the Hidden Valley Trail away from Ogden Canyon. I think this trail actually goes around that little outcropping. It just continues on. A lot of this trail follows the foothills, the city line, if you will, civilization, for a while before it turns upward. But as you can tell, we have officially hiked into the sun, and I'm not nearly as cold as I was right down there in the shadows. Such an interesting hike. We got cacti, whatever, growing on the sides of the trail. You've got grassy areas, some sagebrush, some oak, and as you go up even further, way up in there, pine trees. And over this way, you have desert, Great Salt Lake and the desert as far as you can see, all the way to California, all the way to the Sierra Nevadas actually. Just a huge desert in between. It's quite a hike, it kind of covers the full spectrum. Anyway, let's keep going. And by the way, this is the maiden voyage of my new hiking shoes for the summer. These are Asics, my preferred brand. And of course, they had to be blue, so quite pleased with the last pair I went through. They lasted me probably 2 seasons. It was time for some new ones, and these were comfortable right from the get-go and have not really needed any breaking in period. This is the first hike. Stopping to take a breather. I was wrong about the trail. It doesn't actually go around that outcropping. There, it actually zigzags up this hillside here behind me. Going off of memory, I've only hiked this trail a couple times before, so I recognize certain points along the way, but I don't necessarily have it down in my head, which is funny because up in the Uintas I've hiked some of those trails so much I have them practically memorized and know what to expect. But right here behind my house, I don't know. Anyway, my water situation, I have to bring my water. There's no water on this trail. What happened this morning is I got all my gear together. I usually don't use, I'm very anti water bladder in my pack with the little hose. I've had too many of them leak and fail on me and ruin my gear. I have a very reliable water bladder that I've taken on a lot of campouts as a reservoir to hang up at the campsite. I'll fill it at the campsite and hang it from a tree to use throughout my stay, but I won't fill it full of water and put it in my pack. It's been a long time since I've done that. And I thought, what the heck? I need water. I have to take it with in something, so I'll just do that. And I put it in my pack this morning. I had it full of water sitting on my floor in my bedroom, and there were no leaks, no problems. This morning I put it inside my pack. I ran my kids to school, came back home and got my gear, and my pack was drenched. It leaked. The one reservoir I had it leaked all over my gear. I pulled everything out and I threw this backpack in the dryer for a few minutes, and the only other thing I have to carry water in is a military canteen, and I have that with me. The problem is it's missing the ring on the inside of the lid, the little rubber ring that keeps the water in. So I filled it with water and I shook it and it leaks, but it's not going to leak like the reservoir did. I couldn't even figure out where that leak was coming from on the platypus reservoir. So I chose the lesser of two evils. I've got my military canteen with me. Hopefully it doesn't tip or spill. So far the pack feels dry. We'll talk more about my gear and my pack itself. It's one of my favorites for hiking, and we just have to keep going until about another hour of hiking, and we'll stop and we'll talk about everything. That's the direction we're headed. Okay, we just came from down there. We zigzagged up this hillside to here, and now I take back what I said earlier. I realize this does go around that outcropping there because we're going this way. And if memory serves me correctly, we go up this trail and we cut down through these trees, and then the trail goes along here and right around that bend and continues on. Some beautiful scenery down in here. We're definitely going back in the shade. And as you can see, we're getting closer to the pines. It's just beautiful. Look at that sunrise. Moving away from the city now into these trees I was talking about. I just heard some rocks tumble down up in here, which means something's moving, which is fine. The only problem I have with that is that up in these hills there's more than just deer. There are coyotes, and more concerning, there are mountain lions, and they will stalk you. Could be a person, but I haven't seen any movement. Got my pepper spray. This is nasty stuff, by the way. Don't let the appearance fool you. So we're going to continue into the trees and hope that there's not a large kitty cat keeping an eye on us. There are cliffs above us. Prime stalking territory. Oh, there was one hiker ahead of me with her dog. And I'm hoping that's all that was. Here's our trail. And where I heard it was up in here. It was significant, it was close. Could be that I spooked something and it ran. Knocked rocks over in the process. You know, the trail does continue up that way. It's possible that girl went up there with her dog that way. It's not a huge concern, but it's something to be aware of. It's in the news all the time. Big cats wandering down into the neighborhoods down there from up here. I've even seen coyotes in my neighborhood. You have to be careful letting your cat out at night. He may not come home. In fact, when I first moved into this house, almost 4 years ago, I had 2 cats, and now I have 1. We're getting a little higher in elevation, so we start to see more pine trees. There's a spruce, I should say. That's not a pine tree, it's a spruce. I know, some of you were like, that's not a pine tree. I know, it was just a generic term. It's a spruce. Isn't this beautiful? I think you'd rather see my experience than watch me walk through it. So, here you go. Now, the shade is not as cold as it was when we started, and the breeze has stopped because we're not in the canyon anymore. We're a ways away from that. So it's a lot more comfortable. In fact, I'm starting to sweat. This should come out to a nice scenic outcropping, if I remember right. Looking over the valley. Well, it's not a valley, but looking over Ogden and its adjoining cities. And I'll show you as soon as we get to the top. Almost there. It's just right up here. I can see the top. We'll talk about my shortness of breath throughout this video and a little bit up here. Been really struggling in this hike. Let's take a breather right up here. Look at that. Great Salt Lake. Whew. And Ogden. Isn't it beautiful? So, right out in the middle there without the snow on it, that's Antelope Island. Whew. I gotta catch my breath. I'll be back. When I went out there in my last overnight adventure to Ladyfinger Point, that's out. I can't really see what I'm pointing at. So here's the main island. That's Frary Peak right in the middle. And then out this way is Ladyfinger Point. And that's where I camped. So now you're looking towards the island from these mountains. And while I'm talking, I'll show you a shot from Ladyfinger Point looking back this way at these mountains. So you'll get an idea of kind of the landscape of it all. And the Great Salt Lake used to come way out. And you can't tell in the camera, but from the naked eye, there's no water between the island and where the land usually starts. That's all dirt. And that used to be the massive Great Salt Lake. It has shrunk so much it's changing maps. Anyway, here's our full spectrum view. That snowy mountain right there is the Ben Lomond, highest peak in Weber County, 9,712 feet. You got Ogden Canyon. Lewis Peak is over that way. I'm not sure what this mountain's called, but Mount Ogden, or yeah, Mount Ogden is up over that way. Malin's Peak. Down there you got Ogden High School and a bunch of other places that you don't care about. So you could probably see my house from here, but probably be wise if I don't point it out to you. It's down in that neighborhood, that's all I'll say. Let's take a walk to these rocks and I'll show you how far we are from the parking lot. These are some water retention areas. I think they're underground tanks. And right next to them, way down there, that in the middle of the screen is our parking lot. My car, there's a blue car, and then 2 cars over is a black one, and that one's mine. So that's how far we've come. Way up over all these people and all their busy lives. Isn't that beautiful? Our trail continues that way, and we have another 30 minutes of hiking ahead of us. So I'm not sure if it goes up there. I can't remember. There's a rocky area I would love to have a break at, but I can't remember if it's up there or over this way. And we'll just have to see. Okay, so up a little higher, we were right down there on those rocks. And the pathway did not go straight up behind it. Obviously, we are heading back towards the trees again. It will probably go around once again around that outcropping. We have about 20 more minutes of hiking. And I don't know if I want to continue on that way or take this little trail and see where it goes. I think there might be some good views up there. I'd rather find a nice viewpoint to sit down and rest at than try to figure out where this is going to go next. I'm pretty sure I know where this goes. We go back into the trees, and around the bend there's a pretty cool outcropping. And the reason why I don't really want to go there is because I've hiked this trail before, and I made a video where I sat out there, had an MRE, looked out on the valley. I'd kind of like to go somewhere different and not repeat the same thing again, even though that I've been on this trail. I don't mind repeating trails, but I like to make the videos different. I think we're going to go up this little trail because I don't know where that goes. And I saw some areas up above that look like good scenic overlooks. So let's do that instead of going that way. We're going to continue in the sun. I'm starting to get pretty warm. This needs to come off soon. It's kind of a wool blend pullover. Something just moved and rocks rolled down that hill. Yeah, so there's my sign not to go that way. All right, we're gonna go this way. I'm just taking a breather now. I'll discuss the breathing problem that I'm having. A couple of videos ago I did a channel update where I talked about a virus that I got, a respiratory virus that knocked me and my kids down for a week. We had spring break off, we had campouts planned, and they all went out the window because we were miserably sick. And the tests were negative for the Rona. And even my older son Murphy that lives with me, he is just now recovering from it. My younger boys and I have recovered from it. Murphy's test came back negative. It is not the Rona, it's more like an RSV virus that kids get. I got it from my kids and it wiped us out. Since that time I have fully recovered from the virus. I have no more congestion or cough keeping me awake at night, but I do have a cough when I breathe heavy. It's more like an asthma. It's like my windpipe just clenches up. It's only happened since the virus. And also my voice isn't 100% back. It's been a month, almost 3 weeks. And I've noticed hiking up here, I'm very short of breath, not low on oxygen, but I just get winded really easy and lightheaded. A lot of head rushes come while I've been hiking up here, and that's never happened to me before either. So there's definitely some kind of damage done from that virus, and hopefully that'll just dissipate over time. It's another reason I'm kind of taking this hike slow, is I just get too winded, I start coughing, I get lightheaded, and geez, my whole outdoors career I've never had such weakness. I get so tired, and I think that might be why I slept so much this last weekend. So that's what's going on with that. It's another thing that's slowing me down. All right, we have 5 minutes left to hike. There are these rocks above me, and this trail continues that way. I'm hoping it comes back this way because that's kind of where I'd like to hang out. So let's get up there and talk about gear and look at some food I brought and check out this amazing, beautiful view of my home, sweet home, Ogden, Utah. Well, there's our view. Here's the thing, I didn't make it to those rocks right up there. I just keep getting lightheaded. So I decided to just sit here on the hillside for a minute. And I think what we will do, which like I said, there was no rhyme or reason or agenda to this hike. I think we'll hike back down to those rocks and have our break there. It'll put us behind about a half hour, but that's all right. We are well above the parking lot now. It's again next to those reservoirs. So it's way down there. That's as far in as I can zoom, and those are the rocks I want to sit at. As you can see, we've made a lot of progress since then, and it's kind of a pain to hike back down, but it also, if I backtrack to those rocks, then it saves us time on the hike back, because if I had hiked up anywhere else, I still would have had to hike back down to those rocks. So it's kind of the same diff. You just kind of take what you can get on something like this, and we will hike back down there and look at our lunch situation. What a view though, huh? I was really hoping to sit down and eat right here, but this is pretty slopey, and there's no real flat ground to sit on and actually set up and make lunch, but I know there is down at those rocks. So that is steeper than it appears. Just going up around them to sit on top would be amazing, but I keep struggling with the breathing thing, and there are a lot of cuts in this video because I keep having to cut out my coughing. So I'm not trying to be a poor me or anything like that. I'm just, you know, trying to explain why I am hiking where I am, and why I'm changing my mind, and why we're taking this trail and not that one. And that's all just how the process works when you go on a hike. There are a lot of decisions to be made. So we're gonna go back down to those rocks and have some lunch. Okay, we stopped there and took in the view. We're gonna hike down to this outcropping. You can see a little place there where we can kind of set up lunch. What a view, just absolutely stunning. Beautiful, beautiful Utah mountains. Ogden City here, well, the entire Wasatch Front, is built on the lake bed of ancient Lake Bonneville. The Great Salt Lake is what's left of Lake Bonneville. It covered several, what we now know as several states. And Lake Bonneville was also freshwater lake. We know that by fossils that have been found that show that freshwater type animals lived in it. But now, even the Great Salt Lake is disappearing. I did a vlog recently on my personal vlog channel, I'll link it below, of the Great Salt Lake Marina out at Antelope Island there, and just how dried up things have become with this drought we're in. It's something to behold. I think what we're gonna do, is sit right here in between the rocks and make our lunch. Here's the view. A few more cliffs below us. Pretty amazing. All right, so right here is our landing point finally, and it is 11:20 a.m. Not too bad. Okay, got that pullover thing off, and my back's all sweaty. I have a couple layers on still, but it's just right. And my battery's dying, so I'll be right back. All right, here's what we're looking at. This is the new Outlander day pack. It's one of my favorite packs. It folds up and zips together into a little bag you can carry anywhere. I've used it for years, and you can still buy these. They're about, I don't know, 25 bucks on Amazon, and they come in a variety of colors. And since this one came out, they came out with a royal blue that's a more of a cobalt deep color, like my pullover was, kind of like this color blue. Anyway, I really want one of those. So I might invest in that. I love this one, but I like that color better. Got my regular glasses with me, which frankly I probably won't wear because there's a lot of sun out here. What else do I got? It's time for show and tell, boys and girls. I got Bluetooth speaker. Mr. Joe Shanks gave me this years ago. I use it all the time at home and frequently on hikes and backpacking trips. Of course, it's blue. That's all that's in there, I think. I had to throw this together pretty hastily because of that water leak. I've got my bushcraft knife, my Mora knife. That's all that's in there. And then in here we have a sit pad / kneel pad. Guess who gave me this? Thanks again, Joe. I've had this for years and it's pretty beat up, but it still serves a purpose and does a great job. So that's from Recreation Outlet. Got a Ziploc for my garbage. Got my roll pack as usual. That is full of my first aid and hygiene and fire kit if I should need it. Here's the canteen, and as you can see, it has been leaking. Really frustrating. It's pretty wet in there. Know what I'll be investing in next, won't I? But it's still mostly full of water, so we're good. And thankfully I put all my food stuff in a Ziploc. We have an MRE in here, some Cliff Bars, a little cup if I need it, which I don't think I will. I'm just gonna drink from this. And yeah, let's get started on lunch. Let's see what we're doing here. Just to show you, without that rubber ring in there, you can see that it's dripping, and that's what all this is. Really frustrated with that. Good thing I'm not on a backpacking trip. That would really tick me off to have to deal with that the whole time. Alright, I got my spork. This is my Light My Fire titanium spork. I've had this for ages. I have a newer spork setup that's blue and plastic, but it was actually dirty from another outing, so I brought this one. And that was a gift from Joe too, the blue one. I've got some vegetable crackers and spice pound cake. Here's our Cliff Bars. We got peanut butter banana and sweet and salty peanut butter and honey. I've never had this one. Some beef jerky that came in the MRE. These are pretty gross actually, but what the heck. This is our main course that we're gonna make. It's chili mac. Now you'll notice I don't have a heating element, and that is because I plan on boiling water in the canteen cup that's attached and heating it that way, because I've had too many problems with the MRE heating elements not working. So we're going to do that. And this is just a collapsible cup, towelette, whatever. Stuff I probably won't even use. Anyway, here's how this works if you're not familiar. Many of you may be. This is a military canteen, and it has its own cup. So there's the water. Here's the actual cup. The handle comes up like this, and you slide it down in this little bar, and that's your cup. Now you've noticed I don't have a stove, but here in my roll pack I always carry a little Esprit stove. These used to come in MREs actually. You can get these online for like almost nothing. You fold it up like this, and then we get out a SFIT tablet, which looks like this. Now I'm going to reorganize this, so don't panic if you think I'm going to light it like this. I'm not. So it goes right there. Light it, put your cup of water on top, and heat it that way. So that's what we're going to do. Let's put our garbage in here. Let's clear a spot so we can do that without all this stuff in the way. Nice flat piece of ground. Let's test it and make sure it's going to support our pot. This doesn't quite want to fit on here. Tell me that's not. There we go. There we go. All right, let's put some water in this, maybe half a cup. Well, it's probably a full cup measure-wise, but half a cup, half a canteen cup. We can kind of see if it'll hold up. That looks good, doesn't it? Yeah, that's nice and sturdy. Come on. Sometimes these are stubborn. Ah. Is that going? Yeah. You can't see the flame too well, but it's going. And we moved the stove in the process of trying to light it, so there we go. Now this is the tricky part. I'm going to take this, kind of fold it in half like this, and stick it down in the water. Yeah, that's actually pretty solid. It just doesn't quite want to fit on that little stove, but it works. Okay, I had to move the SFIT stove over. It's still burning really well. In fact, it started burning too well. I had it over here in the grass, and the grass started lighting on fire. I don't know what I was thinking there, but I moved it to some level dirt and gravel so we won't light the freaking mountain on fire. Oh, look at that view. Absolutely stunning. 360 view. I don't really need this water to boil. I just need it to get nice and hot and heat the food through. Heat the pouch. So I don't think it will boil. It usually takes a couple of SFIT cubes to do that. So that's that. We're just playing a waiting game, making a big mess. I forgot to mention, I think, that the main entree is chili mac. I'm not sure if I said that or not. And I'll probably eat the crackers with the chili, put some chili on them and try it that way. And have the pound cake for dessert, possibly. I'm not sure. We shall see how I feel after eating the chili mac and crackers. That may just be enough. I'm sure it will be. But if this was dinner and I'd been hiking all day long, then I'd probably just eat the whole thing and maybe even have a Cliff Bar before bed. But this is just a day hike and I'm not that far from home, so I may just go with the chili and crackers. The water's getting warm. It's starting to steam up. Those cliffs right here have some amazing flat spots on top, and I can see a trail up there, but I can't see one leading up to it. The trail down there is the one we hiked in on, and it just winds up and comes over this way. So I don't know how you get up there, but right up towards the top part, right in there, there's actually some kind of trail. I'm sure people go up there all the time. Maybe it comes off of the Indian Trail. I'm not sure, but that would be a pretty cool view of the valley. And some of these other rock formations are really cool to look at. Where I was right up there, right in there, right below those first rocks that you can see. I thought I'd be able to get on top of those, but I couldn't, and I believe our trail continues through here and goes around right there. And there's another viewpoint over there that's just beautiful. It's just stunning. But you know what? If I can find that video where I've been there, I will throw that link down in the description as well. So I've shown you plenty of the city, but the real reason I came up here was to get away from that and closer to this. It's good for the soul. Well, that water is hot to the touch. It didn't boil just like I thought it wouldn't. The espit has burned up, it's gone, and the water it's just about too hot to keep your hand in, so it's pretty hot. And I've turned over the MRE to heat the other side of it. It's feeling nice and warm and squishy, which is the way I like things. So pretty soon it's going to be lunchtime. Some more views of the cliffs. A lot of cactuses on the cacti, whatever, on the edges. A lot of boulders that used to be up here at some point. I can see over here big old fat healthy cacti. They spread right up into there. Sagebrush and cactus like the desert, and then the further up you go, forests. Well, let's see. It's been a few more minutes. Yeah, it's nice and soft. That's probably good enough. So, let's tear into these crackers. I cooled down from all the hiking, all the sweating I was doing. Actually, I had to put this back on. Here are what the crackers look like. Ooh, it hissed. It went psh. A little piece of one. Let's see what that looks like. We'll focus on the freaking cracker, not on my face. Want some? Those are better than the regular crackers they give you in these. I've got so many plain crackers and there's no salt on them. These might have salt in them, but not on them. But they have a very much taste like vegetable crackers. Very good. I like these. I'm a fan. So let's open that. I'll show you the whole thing. Oh, it's coming apart on me. I will try to show you the whole thing. Here's what's left of one. We will take our main course out of the water. I was gonna cut it open, but that's because I was afraid it was one of these that opened this way instead of this way. Chili mac. I gotta make sure we're focused here. That's what it looks like. First bite. Want some? It's steaming. That's a good sign. Oh, so good. This is the one, according to my friends in the military, or who have been, chili mac is the one that gets fought over the most. It's the one everybody wants. And I can see why. It's quite delicious. My cracker is crumbling too much to put weight on it. Look. So, here's a small piece. And we'll try it that way. Oh yeah. Cracker adds a lot to it. Especially vegetable crackers instead of this, you know, the plain ones. I'm making a mess. Man, I'm telling you guys. Just in time too. My stomach was just starting to complain. So, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know if that's focusing or not. The sun's hitting the viewfinder. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Oh, come on. The cracker's coming apart though. In little pieces. There we go. Big old chunk. A lot of these meals taste like Chef Boyardee out of a can. This is better. This is way better than that. I'm almost through all my crackers just talking to you guys. So I'm going to sit here and be alone with my food for a little bit. I feel bad eating in front of you anyway. I think it's rude. And I'll come back and we'll figure out what we're doing next. Okay, well the Chili Mac is gone and the Air Force is starting to fly. There's an Air Force base just to my right, down that way. And they frequently do test flights and they get pretty loud. There's also the Ogden airport nearby. Anyway, I've decided I'm going to eat the pound cake. I've had these before and they're amazing. But once I got that food in my stomach, I realized just how hungry I was. My breakfast this morning was a little packet of oatmeal, and that is long gone as far as burning calories go. So, here you go. This is a different kind of pound cake. This is spice pound cake, so it's kind of like pumpkin pie. Pumpkin cake. Can you see that? Is it focusing? Anyway, I don't know if it is. I can't see my viewfinder, so I apologize if it's not. Want some? Of course you do. That's really good. It's their regular pound cake. They have a lemon pound cake that's really dense and thick and moist. It's amazing. This has a lot more air in it. It's a lot more fluffy. Not quite a pumpkin cookie and not quite a pound cake. It's somewhere in the middle as far as density goes. But the flavor is fantastic. It's really good. This is really dry. The lemon poppy seed has a lot of moisture in it, but this doesn't. I still have 2/3 of my canteen here. I love this thing. I'm gonna have to invest in another one or see if I can even just find the rubber ring for the lid. I love that it's a cup and canteen all in one. Well, it is afternoon. My plan was to be up here until noon. It's about 10 after, so I'm gonna put all this stuff back together. That's all the lunch I want. And so I'm gonna put all this back together and we'll get back on the trail and work our way back down to the car. There are a lot of dogs in my neighborhood and I can hear them from here. It's insane. Anyway, we're all cleaned up. As you can see, it's like we were never here. My Espit stove, the little cradle that held the tablet and heated our pot, when I went to fold it flat again, it snapped. So I've used it so many times and bent it back into place, back and forth. Eventually they give out, so no big deal. I have things at home I can use, but I like the simplicity and the convenience of just a little tiny lightweight thing to carry around with me. We're gonna say goodbye to this view and we're gonna hike back down to the car. That's pretty much the plan. It's 12:17 p.m. I have to leave from my house at about 2:30 p.m. to get my kids on time, and so I have plenty of time to hike back to my house and take a shower, change my clothes, all that stuff. So we're gonna take our time going back to the car. It shouldn't be that long. It's all downhill. And frankly, it's right down there. Trail's right up here. Let's go back and work our way down. Well guys, I think that's about gonna do it. Thanks for joining me on this hike. Hope you enjoyed it. Do yourselves a favor. Get off the couch. Get outside in nature. The views are spectacular. And sometimes even if you're close to the city. And if you can't get outside, come along with me. I could use the company. See you in the next one, guys. Take care.